Now it's time for Straight on the Point with Jesse T from some undisclosed location somewhere in the world. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's Jesse T.
Well, it's good to be back with you. The Brown Beauty is back on duty. It's time for the Jesse T Show. I'm solo project today. It's me, myself, and I. I feel like De La Soul. Remember that song? I got an interesting story about that song, and I'll talk to you a little bit later about it. But anyhow, it's just you and me together here like we started off in the beginning, and we're back together again on a Thursday in Southern California. Good to have you along with us. What a show we had yesterday in Roundup Wound Up, man. That thing was off the chain, off the hook. Dan the Man, oh my goodness, Dan the Man got me in trouble. That's right, man. I hit the streets and people are going, oh, is that Dan the Man? Is that really Dan? Did he say that? I said, yeah, man. He said, I can't believe he said that. I tell you, if you don't know what Dan the Man said, you got to go check out the archive version on YouTube or, of course, The Power of Voices or, of course, on my Facebook timeline. Hey, today we were expecting to have a terrific young director in, and I was really looking forward to talking to him because he's a United States military veteran. And so, you know, he made that great shift from serving his country in the military. And thank you very much, Jeff Reyes. And but he's, once again, this traffic demon out there is just impossible. We've been getting hit a lot by that because people just are underestimating the time it takes to go 5, 10, 8 miles. I mean, it's impossible today. Really, in the last couple of years in my trips down here, the trip down here has taken even longer. I think there's just more people driving, more people getting licenses, more 16-year-olds getting licenses. Can you imagine all in the next 10 years, all the people are going to have fresh new licenses and the people that are on the road right now, I just don't know. I'm telling you, I'm just going to lay around the house naked all morning. That's it. I'm not getting up. I'm going to throw the towel in. Anyhow, so Jeff was supposed to check in, but he got tied up on a shoot this afternoon, directing something down in downtown L.A., and he's just not going to make it. So we rescheduled him for another day later on in March. And because I really wanted to give him a full hour. He's got a lot of cool and interesting things to talk about, which I think are wonderful. But I want to play just a little tidbit, a little taste, give you a little slice of Jeff Reyes. And this is something he put together on his IMDb site. Check it out. It's Jeff Reyes. And get ready for this guy. He's really cool, man. I told you that stuff is just wickedly cool, isn't it? Hey, we had a person in there, Tom Sizemore, who was on the show just about 4 or 5 weeks ago in that nice little reel. That's Jeff Reyes, everybody. And we're going to be looking forward to having a great conversation with him a little bit later on in the month of March, which, by the way, is just around the corner. I mean, it's unbelievable how fast this year is going by. It is really remarkable. I just think that time is just whipping on by, you know. We are so stressed out and so busy with all kinds of things in our lives. But it's just, you wake up one day and it's Thursday. You wake up the next day, it's like Thursday 4 months from now. What happened to the 4 months? Beats the heck out of me. Anyhow, Jeff Reyes, everybody, check it out. You can go check him out on IMDb, and he's got his filmography up there and all that stuff. Yes, easy for me to say. Filmography up there, right? Yes. Well, I'm the Toothless Wonder today. Where's me wenches? That's right. I'm going to get a post put up in there very soon and have a nice, brilliant, like, white tooth. It's probably going to be more white than all my other teeth, and they're going to call me the Great White Tooth Master. I don't know, the one tooth saber-toothed tiger. That's what they're going to call me. Yes. Anyway, you check out Jeff Reyes, his filmography, and you can check out that, of course, here on Facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. So I just want to welcome everybody who's chiming in now on Instagram Live at Jesse Torrero. That's TORRERO, saying hi to Tracy Ellman, who has us on, Renee Corbiak, or something like that. I'm not quite sure. I just can never see this small print, even with my glasses on. RJ Johnson, that's easy. I'll see when he chimes in with us. I like RJ because he's got a really simple name. I like simple names. These long names are really difficult for me. Yes, I have a hard time in reality, too. Saying hi to Seafood Jeff Langton, who has us on, and he's got a couple of great projects coming up. You might want to look for him on his Facebook page and look for the Jolton J. Jeff's been on the show a couple of times, and it's good to have him and see him along here with us. He's a rock blues artist, great actor. He's got a nice reel and back on the scene there, blazing some new trails for himself. And you might want to check out his blues album, The Jolton Jays. He's got some really good songs in there as well. And by the way, Lee, Jeff wanted me to ask you, he's got to cut a couple of new tracks, master a couple of things. You might know somebody that has a studio that he could go master some stuff at. So he wanted me to ask you that. So a record, yeah, audio. Yeah, so, we got people, Jeff, but it's going to cost you, man. You see, I just gave you a little love here, so you got to give me a little love up. I need, let me see, how much do I need for gas this weekend? I need about $100 for gas this weekend. Yes, thank you. Hey, come on, man. You know, that's the Jewish in me. You didn't know I was Jewish, did you? Yes, I am Jewish. I'm a Sephardic Jew. No, I'm not no, I didn't say that. No, we talk like that on Wednesday and Roundup Wound Up. I'm a Sephardic Jew. Now, you don't know what a Sephardic Jew is? They're Jews from Spain. Right. That's what they are, right? So they're also called black Jews or dark Jews or, anyway, yes. The whole story goes that in 1527, my family raised bulls. That's why I'm full of bullshit, okay? Yeah, bum. Right, yes, sorry, we have to beep that one out because we do have a rated PG-13 show tonight, this afternoon. Yes, anyway, anyhow, so yeah, we raised bulls for the King of Spain during the Spanish Inquisition. Now, why do you say bulls for the King of Spain? Because way back then, the kings, when they would send their armies out to fight each other, the first thing they would do is they would have each, like 50,000 or 100,000 men on each side. It was one battle that determined who was going to survive the empire and take over the other empire. It wasn't these potpourri of battles like America has had for the last 275 years, something like almost 300 battles and wars we've been in. We're the most warring nation in the history of mankind, man. We just prolong the battles, and we have another. It's like a battle of generation, and we've really done well this generation. I think we got 2 or 3 or 4 battles going on all around the world, and we got some more coming too. Well, you know, you can thank the corrupt government and big corporations and banking for that. You know, they don't care about you and me, and well, I don't want to get into that because I'll probably depress you and you'll want to drive your car into the semi-truck. But nevertheless, so what happened was, like, the King of Spain, he had bulls, okay? And he would have these ranchers or rancheros that would have these bull ranches, and they would raise fighting bulls. They had a really bad temper. And, you know, a bull has a bad temper anyway. You've ever seen a rodeo? If you've ever gone to a rodeo, you got to go to a rodeo, because that is the most exciting thing that you'll ever see, man. Dudes on the back of 3,000-pound bulls getting thrown off in the air, you know? And these aren't these like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Lou Ferrigno type Incredible Hulk dudes. These dudes are like 150 pounds, man. I mean, they're fit young guys, but they're sitting on the backs of these Brahma bulls. So that's what they would raise. And what they would do is they would send the bulls in first, okay? Well, actually, they would send the army, the soldiers. The soldiers were the peasants. They were conscript armies, and they would send the peasants. Yeah, I mean, you're out there working your field, right? And the king's men comes up, and they grab you, and they say, here's a sword. You're going to be part of the army that we're going to fight next Tuesday at 6 o'clock. We're going to go down to the plain around the mountain and that valley, and you're going to face 100,000 people. I don't want to. Yes, yes, you do. And we're going to take your oldest son with you too. I mean, that's what they would do. They would conscript all of the peasants, and they would give them no training, whatever weapons and they had. And sometimes they didn't have sticks, just sticks and rocks and stuff. Seriously, only the king's army that he paid for would have the finest weaponry and armor and stuff. So they would send down these peasant soldiers that they didn't care whether they lived or died. Horrible, bloody mess. You talk about a bloody war battle scene. And these two soldiers, these two nations would fight each other. Let's say Spain was fighting France, right? And they would fight each other. The soldiers would go in there, and then as the soldiers was either losing or winning, because one side would be losing or winning, then they would release the animals. And that's where you get the concept of, you know, release the dogs or let the dogs run, because some kings had these giant dogs, ferocious dogs. Some kings had elephants, like the Persian people. The Persian Caesars, or the Persian dictators had elephants, and they had rhinoceroses because the Persian Empire was so huge all the way into Africa. So anyhow, the Romans had that too. Tigers and lions and bears, Yes, we're off to see the Wizard of Oz, the wonderful Wizard of Oz, because of all the wonderful things he does. I wish he would give me the California lottery. I would, you know, if I won the California lottery, I would give everybody that listens to me some money. I would. So when you win the lottery, you give me the lottery and I'll give you some money back. I know there's some warped sense of reality there, but it certainly makes good sense to my brain. Anyhow, so the King of Spain, he raised these fighting bulls, right? And the thing about these fighting bulls, the horns weren't up like Texas Longhorns, where the horns are up. They bred these bulls so the horns would turn down and be downward. So when the bulls, he would let like 1,000 bulls come down the hillside after the soldiers, the peasant soldiers, were there bloody and killing each other. And then the bulls would come in and just trample everything. And the other king probably had dogs, or maybe they had something. And then the animals would start fighting. And the animals would kill any human, because animals can't figure out, you know, what side they're on. And these bulls would be goring people, and it was just a horrible, bloody mess. Okay, so my family raised bulls. All of that discussion just to tell you that my family raised bulls, and that's where the original name came from, Torero, which is Torrero in Spanish, or bull fighter. That's what we raised, fighting bulls.
So that's all bovine.
It is purely bovine, I'll tell you, man. And it's getting so thick in here, I need rubber boots up to my butt. Yes. But I do tell a good tall tale. I mean, you can't take me fishing. I mean, I'll catch a pollywog, and it'll be size of a blue whale by the time I get done talking about the story. That was terrible, man. I mean, when I was a young guy, and they were passing the bong around, and the pipe, and the joint, and the reefer, that's what we used to call them, in the 64 lowered Impala Chevy, like Cheech and Chong style. And I only sat shotgun. I don't care how old you were. If I went in somebody's car, and I was 14, 15, 16, or 15 years old, I sat shotgun or I didn't go. And I was such a blast because, I could always talk to the girls, and I had a gift for gab. No, I didn't have a gift for gab, Yeah, that's right. This just came recently to me. Yes. No. Anyway, I would have this gift for, so I would be put in shotgun seat. And if I didn't get shotgun, I didn't go. So the guy driving the car was always older, and he'd be passing the joint. I mean, seriously, this was a joint. This wasn't like a little joint. These joints were like cigar size. I mean, I thought I was smoking Cuban joints or something, but I wasn't smoking. But I really was smoking because I was smoking the secondhand smoke. Anyhow, so they'd pass the joint to me, and I'd pass it to the guys in the back, my buddies, right? They'd pass it around, or the bong, or the pipe, or what I pass. And sure enough, there was the guy that was driving was always someone that didn't know Jesse T. They didn't know me, right? And they probably knew like somebody in the car, but they didn't know me. And so they would start getting on me because I wasn't toking the reefer, baby. I wasn't spotting that stuff in my mouth and sucking that stuff down into my lungs. And so what they would do is they start getting on me. Man, they start trying to put me down, trying to say all these crazy things. I look at them. I remember I'm 15 years old. It's 1975. All right, so I'm still the same guy. I haven't changed at all. Believe me, I came out this way. Well, at least I came out some way. I'm here, so something good happened. Anyway, so and after a while, I'd say, "No, man, not for me. I don't do that. No, man, no." Meanwhile, the whole car is being enveloped in this cloud of foggy secondhand marijuana smoke, right? And of course, I'd open the window trying to get some fresh air, but still, you get high by osmosis. But I've never actually put something in my mouth and smoked it. Cigarettes, cigars, nothing. I never put anything in my mouth that I wasn't supposed to eat. And I'm just going to leave it at that. Okay? All right. Yes. Thank you very much. Oh, I got something to tell you about peppers. Peppers are so... Do you know that there's such a thing as female peppers and male peppers? I'm going to talk to you. Hey, listen. The Dr. Pepper here is going to teach you about peppers. We're going to medical school. I'm going to teach you about peppers because I am the Dr. Pepper. Okay, so that's something else to talk about. Anyway, I know I'm going to get back to this story about the Bulls, okay? But I'm stuck on this other story right now. So what can I tell you? Saying hi to Gloria Villa, saying hi to Sherry Maynard, Jeff Langton, saying hi to Marichu Gigabini. I like that. Saying hi to Brian. No, I don't stutter. I just can't figure out these guys' names. Blessings, man. Saying hi to this guy who's cool. Thank you. Saying hi to Penny Latham, who has us on Instagram. And check us out on Instagram live at Jesse Torrero, and of course at facebook.com/Jesse Torrero. And we're on YouTube right now, Jesse Torrero as well, and the global radio network of thepowerofvoices.com. That's right. When disc jockeys and radio personalities want to get that deep voice, they just move really close and drop it, baby. Yeah. Okay, so that's how they do it. Anyway, back to the marijuana story, the smoking in the car, the 64 Chevy lowered to the ground with the little steering wheel and the 520s and the Kragers, man, and the straight pipes, man, the glass packs. Yeah. Phew, you think I don't know what I'm talking about? Come on, man. You guys, I'm just teaching a little bit about me, Jesse T. Anyway, so I got to quit saying anyway. I'm saying that too much. Thank you. I catch myself. Hey, we all get these little hooks. So we're cruising around here, and they'd be starting to lecture me, right? Oh, you can't do that. Yeah, you're so sissy. You're this, you're that. Hey, Greg Pifitomo, Gregory. I need somebody to phonetically spell these names out for me. Really, I do. I'm going to try to bring some of y'all up here on Facebook.com. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring some of you guys up here. But nevertheless, so they'd be giving me a hard time. Peer pressure, bullying. Come on. I don't get it with all this bullying and peer pressure. What happened to parents making their children feel secure? We've done a terrible job in the last 40 years of parenting our children in this country. Parents have gotten just too damn greedy. They've forgotten about their kids. They want the jet ski and the Polaris and the fancy, Escalade, which they can barely afford doing something cool and right for the children. I mean, they keep making them, but they don't teach them nothing. And this is why we got these crazy kids growing up in this country today. Oh, my goodness. It's just impossible. So they tried this peer pressure stuff on me. It never worked, right? So and eventually what would happen is I would say, look, man, I don't do that. All right. And that would be the signal to my buddy, or one of my buddies would say, man, hey, dude, you don't want to get Jesse T going. You don't want to hear his mouth. He will get his mouth going. And man, you just don't want to get him going. And of course the guy would, who are you? Saying hi to Hampton Mike Lewis. And so you don't want to get this guy going. And sure enough, I'd get going because they'd challenge me. Either that or punch him in the side of the face, one or the other, while he's driving. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, I get in an accident. Or get out of the car at the nearest red light. I did that a lot. I would just get out of the car and walk the opposite direction and go to a phone booth and call my mom. Or usually my mom. My dad was working a lot. My mom would come pick me up. Simple, no problem. She didn't ask any questions. That was the rule. I mean, she would pick me up. I would tell her everything anyway. It didn't make any difference to me. So they would start on me, and I would just start lecturing them. Oh, would I lecture them about, smoking and partying and drinking and doing drugs and doing all that crazy stuff in 75. I would start, and the guy would just want to commit suicide after I got done with him. So back to the Spain story. So in ancient Spain in 1527, the King Ferdinand, it was called the Spanish Inquisition. And basically he got dispensation by the Pope. I call him the Poop because they've been pooping on us for a long time. All the popes who are poops been pooping on us. There's a pope that wears white and there's a poop that wears dark. There's two poopy popes. Right? There's one that wears all black. He's called the Dark Pope. And then there's the White Pope. And the Dark Pope's family within the Vatican is one of the strongest, most corrupt families. They're called Jesuits. Oh, they have done some atrocities on people for 1,000 years, and they're still doing it. So the King of Spain, during the Spanish Inquisition, for some reason, my family, Torreros, they were large landowners and they raised the king's fighting bulls. But they were Jewish. They weren't Catholic and they weren't Christian. So the King of Spain was throwing everybody and cutting off their heads and incarcerating them and torturing them that were Christians the way he and his wife wanted Christians to be. It was just basically his grab of fortunes and wealth and land and his way to get rid of all the dissidents in his society. But he had to get a compensation from the Pope. Right. Okay. He had to get some dispensation from them first. Because at that time you couldn't do anything without the Vatican getting involved. You just couldn't. It's just that's as simple. And the Vatican was basically the Bank of Europe through the disgusting contractual agreement between the House of Rothschild a little bit later on in the late 16th century, early 17th century. It was just terrible. So, and they're Jewish bankers. So go figure that one. Oh, the hypocrisy runs so deep. But they started rounding everybody up, and they rounded a lot of Torreros up. Toreros, and threw them in jail and like the Count of Monte Cristo, that kind of stuff. So my family, some portion of my family exited like Snagglepuss stage right and went vroom, to Italy, to northern Italy, okay? Not down in the boot, down in the Mediterranean, but to northern Italy. Eventually they kind of went all through Italy, but they went to northern Italy in 1527. And there they, over the years that they were there, they picked up the second R, which is Torrero. It's pronounced the same way, similar. In Spain, it's Torrero. In Italy, it's Torrero. You see, the inflex is a little bit different. And in the germation of the word, it boils down in Latin to be a word that means lamp lighter. And so my family, when they moved, immigrated by forced immigration over death because they believed in the Jewish faith, they moved to Italy and became lamp lighters. Because what a lot of people did, like blacksmith, well, blacksmith is a trade, but the guy who was doing the blacksmithing becomes the blacksmith or takes the name Mr. Blacksmith. And that's kind of how it was, because people didn't have a lot of last names in those times. They didn't really know what families they were from. They didn't know their bloodlines and their lineage. Only the aristocracy knew that, the monarchies and the very wealthy business people and the Vatican. So that's how the name came around. So essentially, really, they did become Catholic at some point, and then coming back to Spain and then into the New World, you have two words, Torrero, which now are bullfighters. That's what they are, toreros, bullfighters. And you have Torrero, and there's very few of them worldwide. Very few. Not too many. There's a lot. There's more Torreros, but not too many Torreros. And so when they made that immigration back, they essentially had a new vocation. And it was over a couple hundred years anyway. So then what happened was, when they came to the New World, the names fragmented. But they're kind of pronounced the same way. So my whole life, people said, oh, you're a bullfighter, especially here in Southern California, because you're a torero. Oh, you're a bullfighter. And I've just said, yeah, I am. But I'm also a lamplighter. And they would go like, huh? Lamplighter? Wait. You know, these people speak Spanish, right? I mean, lamp. So when I would be in Italian neighborhoods or with Italians, they'd say, you're Italian. And I said, yeah. And they go, oh, yeah. I've seen that name in Italy before. Yeah. And I would say, they would say, lamplighter. I said, yeah. And I'm also a bullfighter. And they would go, huh? Look at me. Go, yeah, Torrero means bullfighter too. And so the story goes, I am a lamp lighting bullfighter with the light in front shining bright, always traveling down the path for right, with my sword in one hand and my shield in the other, changing wrong to right. After all, I'm the lamp-lighting bullfighter, the only shining light at night. Okay, I thought that was an interesting story. So when Lee said, when we were talking, when we first got the show going, I'm Jewish. If you go back far enough, I'm a Sephardic Jew. Back far enough. Anyway, I'm not Jewish anymore. I don't quite know what religion I am, actually. I believe in an omnipotent one, a spirituality. What I do believe is something that is very unique that they found about 4 or 5 years ago because of all the fancy Dan equipment now that they can do technical research in science and medicine that they couldn't do before, right? Saying hi to Greg Wilhelmi and Joe St. George and Georgie that has us on. Thanks a lot. And Penny has us on, and Brian has us on. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in as we have some fun here on the Jesse T Show. So what took place was, in terms of how we progressed from there, as I said, I've got some Jewish faith in me, because being Jew isn't a bloodline. It is a point of faith. Okay? It's a religion. It's a faith. There are no Jewish bloodlines. There's people that have bloodlines that are of the Jewish faith. There might be Israelis after World War II, and there were Germans and Polish, and there were Spanish Jews, but the Jewish aspect is not an ethnicity. It is a faith. So when you fast forward now about religion, they scientifically, my belief is that, and I'm going to give you this is sex education 101, according to the world, according to Torrero. I won't put you straight on the point here, because all this abortion stuff, when I was younger, I was much more open-minded about this. As I've gotten older, and both of my children have grown up to be just super special young adults, just so fantastically successful, that I've changed my ideology about abortion. Trimester abortion, no way. Dual-mester abortion, no way. I remember my children when they were in the womb of their mother. And I remember when we first found out we were going to have babies, little ones. No way. So I've always believed, in some weird way, even when I was raised in a Christian religion and I got some Christian faith and Christian ideology. I've read the Bible so many times. I remember I asked my mother when I was a kid, and when we started really studying the Bible at Village Christian School, all that begatting, which means basically having sex, all that begatting in the Old Testament, and all of that stuff, I would say to my mom, do you believe in God and Jesus? And my mom said, I believe in a spiritual being, but we put you, Daddy, which was my father, Grandpa T, that's what my mom called my dad. Daddy and I decided to put you in private school and Christian school because we wanted to make sure you at least had an insurance policy. Yes, because you ain't going to get the Christian faith from us the way you would get it in church. And we aren't church-going people, but we do believe in faith and a spirituality and a God. But we needed to make sure that you had an insurance policy and get some religion in you, boy. Oh, my mom was such a great woman. Wow. Anyway, so they have scientifically found out that what takes place now is that at the time of insemination, when the sperm, all those other sperms go like that. Yeah, they do. They make that little sound. You just don't know that, right? If you put your ear really close after you have sex to a woman's, personal private parts, right? You'll hear those little sperm cells. This, of course, if you're going to make a baby. If you're not, you got to have some protection, baby. That's right. But if you're going to be making babies, you hear this. It's sort of like the good and plenty ice cream man that used to, or the Roger Jessup's ice cream man that used to come down my street when I was a kid. Ice cream, ice cream, right? It's sort of like that. Yeah. You can hear it. Jeffrey Sowers has us on. Dean Olson, Patty Banner. We haven't seen Patty in a while. Good, Patty. All right. Thanks all for having us on the Jesse T Show here every day of the week, Monday through Friday, live at 5. So you hear those little sperm cells going. You're saying, you're just tuning in right now to the show. You say, what the heck are you talking about? Well, I'm talking about important stuff here, okay? So, yeah, all right. Those sperm cells, they get into that round egg right there, that kind of round thing that's protected by this, like the Great Wall of China. And nothing can penetrate through that thing, right? It's like Star Trek, and they put up the shields, right, around that little egg in there, right? The shields, right, goes up. But those little sperm cells, there's so many of them, bling, 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 and one gets in there. One wiggles his way in there, or her way, or its way in there. And the minute that sperm cell touches an egg, this is the magical thing. This is the magic. This is, I think, really, really, this is where God lies, or our God-like ideology. You know, what we think of God. We named God because that's what our language allowed us to name God. I mean, he was named Yahweh, he was named Yahweh, he was named a lot of things, but God is God no matter what. You know, human beings have given whatever name we've called that thing that we call God, we call it God. So, you know, God has been God because we named him God. I mean, we could have named him Crayola. We could have named him Chevy. We could have named him Dirtbag. We could have named him Shining Meteor. We could have named him a lot of things. We could have named him like this. We could go like that. That could be God too. I mean, God could be a lot of things. The only reason why God is because we've named him God, and that's what we use in God and whatever. You get the point, right? So, but I think when that sperm cell, and this is what I've always believed and what I always said, even when I was a kid, life starts when that little guy hits that other little guy, or little girl hits that other little girl, or guy, you know, hey, look no matter what, boys are boys and girls are girls. I don't believe in all this sexual stuff that's going on. I'm pretty basic and pretty straightforward in that conversation. Not insulting anybody, but, you know, I just have my opinions about things, and I'm pretty much resolute about that. Yeah, I don't change my opinion much unless there's really something that makes me think. But boom, they hit, they touch, and then what happens, science has found out about 2 or 3 years ago, they found out that that moment, an electrical impulse happens and a spark goes on. And so one day I'm watching Transformers, right? Megabots. Ah, the Megabots are here. Yes, we're going to get those Thunderbots, or whatever they're called, right? And those Megabots, yeah. I used to do voices for that. Megabots. And they would get the spark, that spark they talk about, that spark that they talk about in Transformers. And when I saw that, I went, wow, yeah. And then I found out that when the sperm hits the egg, at that moment in time, an electrical impulse sends a spark. It's a fast flash too. I mean, it's faster than when you drive through an intersection like in Culver City or Beverly Hills, and you didn't stop and you get a ticket, and the camera takes a picture of you. You don't even see it. It's that fast, right? It's fast, and so you have. That's when life begins, in my opinion. Life begins right there. That spark. That's where God lies. You see, so God is in you, and you and you and you and you and you and you. God is in you. And that's what we call God. You can get lost in all what you believe God is, but whatever we call it, you know, we can call it Logitech, the camera I'm looking into right now. We can call it Facebook. I don't care what you want to call it. You can call it Boogaloo Baby. It don't matter. But that spark, that's where life begins, right there. Now, from that point on, life is growing. And it gets to a point where life actually becomes a human being, looks like one. And in terms of abortion, Look, my feelings are, and I've always said this, that if you're going to do something to abort your child, and this is where I deviate from the conservative right and the liberal left, because I'm more down the middle when it really comes to the important items of our nation and of our humanity. You better get rid of that before it turns into anything what a human is. Before the skull is shaped and the rib cage and the spinal cord and fingers and all that. So the minute that starts happening, and that's pretty quick thereon, medical people can tell you exactly when that starts happening because all those little cells are, duplicating, expanding. You ain't got no time to waste to make a decision. But when that little body starts to form, man, you're killing it. You're killing it. If you take it out, you're killing it. That's how I feel about it. And that's the way it is, the world according to Torrero. And if you go all the way to a trimester, you're committing murder. It's that simple. That's what I believe. Simple and sweet. There's adoption. There's lots of families that want good children. There's lots of things to do the right way. Hey, you messed around and you didn't use protection. Hey, look, too bad. You gotta take care of that business real soon. I mean, really fast, like in the first week. Okay, or go full term and have the baby and give it to a family that really wants one that can't have a baby. That's just how I feel. Barry Baxter's on. And, of course, I know Barry would disagree with me because he's very much a wonderful Christian man. And his idea about that might be a little different, a little more conservative than my idea. But my idea kind of runs right down the middle. So anyhow, that's what I feel about that. So I have no idea how I got on that topic matter, but I did. Anyway, I did get on that topic matter, but we were talking about bulls and we were talking about a whole bunch of things. So this is the Jesse T Show, and it's you and me just rambling around here, having a good time. Let's see if we can bring anybody up here. Let's see if we can bring Jeff Sowers up. Maybe Jeff wants to get on with us. Let's add Jeff here to the camera, and I'll have to open up another mic and put him on there. You won't be able to see him, but we might be able to hear Jeff. Let's see. Where you at, Jeff? There you are. Oh, don't do this to me. I think I just dropped to Facebook. I did. Well, come back to me, guys. I accidentally hit the wrong buttons. I do that with my big fat fingers. I hit the wrong buttons all the time on a lot of things. So hopefully you're having a great day today as we move to the weekends. It's weather-wise here in Southern California. It's nice. It's just crazy across the nation, isn't it? It's unbelievable what they're getting across the nation. These storms and stuff. You kind of like to want to be in a snowstorm, and it's romantic. But can you imagine having to shovel that stuff every day of the week? Maybe a couple, 2-3 times a day so your roof doesn't collapse in on you? It's pretty crazy in living in that kind of world. I don't think I would like to live in that kind of world. I sort of like Southern California. That's for sure. We have it here in this great part of the country. But the people living here, I think, have all just gone crazy. If you're listening from around the nation and around the world, because we do broadcast all around everywhere, we are on the air and everywhere from the community to the world. California is a world unto itself. It really is. It's a social experience that is completely separate from the rest of the planet Earth. We over here living in California, we are folks that I think we're just mentally deranged. I've come to the agreement that we are mentally deranged people. I accept my mental illness, but I'm telling you, people living here just have lost all concept of common sense and logic. This whole murdering thing and killing thing in the schools, that CNN thing the other night, what a stupid program. Really? You do some research on this. Do you know how many times they screwed up at that high school and the police agency there and the social service agencies. Do you know how many times they screwed up? There was a cop that was armed that works for the police department on the campus, 54 years old. He resigned today. He was outside the building. He never drew his weapon to charge the shooter. I mean, what is he, a coward? There were so many. They knew the videotapes. When the police showed up, they saw the videotapes. The videotapes were 20 minutes old. How can you have videotapes of something happening that's 20 minutes old when you have an active shooter? They should be like real time. They screwed up they had so many warnings about this guy. All the students there were teachers, there were social services because he lost his mom and he moved to this family's domicile, his stepmother, and he held guns to his stepbrother's head. He held guns to people in the neighborhood. He punched walls in the house. The police were called many, many times. And this guy, see, what they're telling you, they're not really telling you. This guy had a history, and the system fell apart, guys. It's not the AR-15 that fell apart. It's the system that fell apart. We don't need more laws. We just need to make sure that we're doing the things that we already have on the books. The system fell apart. Okay, I agree. You got to have more vetting. I get that. No problem. Good people will be able to vet fine. Got it. No problem. All right. But to stop anybody from getting a weapon is wrong, in my opinion. All right. And because especially with this guy, everybody knew about this guy. Everybody knew. They complained about him. He already had a dossier and he was expelled from this school. Okay? They knew about this guy. They knew he was a whack job. In fact, all of these killers who are hooked up on drugs, and we talked about that yesterday, were all whack jobs that the system knew about. Columbine, Sandy Hook, all of them. The FBI blew it. Now, you got to ask me, if you can't trust the police, you can't trust the FBI, you can't trust the authorities at the school, you can't trust all the rules that should have been lived to properly and fell apart, what is the sense of making more rules? It doesn't make sense. And then who can you trust? And then you have to ask yourself this question. The largest agency in the world, the FBI, policing agency to protect the nation, isn't doing their job. So are you telling me that the whole FBI just fell apart? Doesn't that question mark in your head something? I mean, really? Look the other way and then look back? I'm telling you, guys, there's more to this story than what the news is reporting on. And that whole fake agenda thing at CNN was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. They're blaming all the wrong people. They got to look inside and look at what that community did not do that should have done. You just got to do your homework. People died because rules were not followed, because regulations were not followed, because people didn't do the right things that they were hired to do. That's what happened there. And it seems to happen at every school. See, our society just doesn't want to be accountable for itself anymore. At least that cop he resigned. I bet he's so guilty in his head that he didn't charge. If he would have charged that shooter, maybe the shooter would have only murdered a few people and would have been shot dead instead of murdering 17. See, we got to look at things when we understand the real truth of the matter. So that's the problem. with our society today is that what do you believe? You can't trust the FBI. They're corrupt. You can't trust politicians. They're corrupt. You can't trust the courts. They're corrupt. You can't trust the police. They don't do their job. They had countless numbers of records on this guy. They should have sent people over to that house he was living at, that domicile, which I think was a trailer, over there to solve the problem. This guy was a whack job. And he was on drugs to top it off. And they knew about it. Everybody knew about it. You can't trust the authorities at school. I mean, you see, these are the things that were in place that just completely fell apart. I mean, if you go get your brakes done at your local brake place, you trust the fact that the mechanic that does your brakes is going to put your brakes back together the proper way with proper materials, and you're going to pay them to do your brakes. And you trust that when you're flying down the freeway, the turnpike or the highway at 75 miles an hour, that when you hit your brakes are going to work. What happens when your brakes don't work? And there was a flaw in the mechanic's work when he was fixing your brakes. What do? Do you have some stupid meeting at night and complain? No, you go back to the mechanic and you say, look, I crashed my car into the back of a Kenworth semi-truck going 75 miles an hour because my brakes broke that you fixed one day before. That's what you do. It's just mind-boggling to me that common sense and logic it just never gets used anymore in this country. It just doesn't. Hey, saying hi to Manny Martinez, Becky Romero, Masamiya Sakaura. And we're back with everybody here. I got it back up. Robert Mazzurana. Antonio Snow has us on. Tom Collins. You know, think about that. Would you like to have a name called Tom Collins? That would be like, hey, gin and tonic. Is gin and tonic here? Or margarita. Didn't Jimmy Buffett write a song, Margaritaville, about margaritas? Yeah, one of my favorite songs. A Jimmy Buffett concert. There's three groups when I was growing up that you had to go to these concerts because this is where all the chicks were, man. It's where all the chicks were. They were at Beach Boy concerts. Now remember, I'm talking West Coast now. Okay? They were at Beach Boy concerts. They were at Chicago concerts, the group Chicago. For some reason, all the girls liked Chicago. They were at Jimmy Buffett concerts. And they were drunk at Jimmy Buffett concerts. It was just a party. Jimmy Buffett was like one giant party. These were like the groups that I can't forget. They were at this group called Bread. David Gates and Bread. Man, he had these like sappy love songs that just made you cry, and the girls would just whimper when this song would come on, right? And even the guys would cry. Every guy would use that David Gates song from Bread to try to get his girl back when he did something bad, because it was so self-deprecating, these songs. But they were always at his concerts. Oh, that was the best place to go. But Tom Collins, I got a guy watching us. His name is Tom Collins. Hey, man, is your name Slim Jim? Is your name, how about, oh gosh, I was a bartender. I forgot. How about Sex on the Beach? Hey, Sex on the Beach. How about that one? I don't even know the name of the new drinks. I mean, it's been so many years. But how about a Harvey Wallbanger? Hey, Joe, is Harvey Wallbanger in? Or is Pina Colada in? Yes. I mean, really, man, I love your parents, Tom Collins. I love them. Give me a tall glass, Tom Collins. Throw some gin and sweet and sour in that baby. Hit it with some soda. Put a lemon twist on it and 2 straws. Stir it around and let me drink that Tom Collins. I bet you used that line on girls at the bars, didn't you? Hey, baby, would you like to have a Tom Collins? I'll get it for you. Yeah, yes, I would. What's that? Oh, it's a beautiful drink. And, it's just one of the best things you ever had. Oh, yeah, what'd you get for me? Well, you're looking at it. I'm Tom Collins. I mean, really? Only I could come up with that kind of silly stuff, right? My name is Tom Collins. Tom, I love your name, man. I'm not making fun of you. Hey, but I just want to know, is your sister Sex on the Beach? I know, but, really, because I don't want to go to Margaritaville. Absolutely not. No way. Saying hi to Bill Domino. That's another name. To be named Bill Domino, man. Like Domino's Pizza. Are you going to play Domino's tonight? I mean, have you ever looked at people's names and say, man, that's a funny name. I like that name. But can you imagine, guys and girls, you probably would get this too, but can you imagine a guy's first name being Richard and his last name being Dick? Richard Dick? Dick. Can you imagine him being bullied in my generation? Oh my gosh. We would lambaste that dude. Oh my, he would never ever be without 1 second of being made fun of. But that's what made us, man. Everybody got made fun of when I was growing up. Everybody got bullied. Everybody got laughed at. Everybody, everybody, everybody got it from everybody else. And you learn to deal with it. You learn to rifle some stuff back. You maybe even got in a little fist fight, and and I'm getting petals of beautiful pink petals thrown at me. That's right, because I love pink. Oh, I'm so happy. Pink. It's a pink Thursday. Yes, pink. And no matter what color on the outside, it's always pink on the inside. Oh, I'm talking about pomegranates. You terrible people, you. All right. The Jesse T Show. Today's show. Hey, Jeff Ray is going to be checking in with us. Thanks, Jeff. His management called, and we appreciate that, and we can't wait to see him. Of course, this week, as we're lambasted in pink. That's right. Oh, yes. We've got some good things coming up this weekend. We'll be broadcasting somewhere from someplace, doing something. I'm sure I'm going to be doing something because I always got this camera tied to my friggin' hip now. Anyway, next week, tomorrow is the Jesse T Show right here, live at 5 on thepowervoices.com. Thanks a lot. It's archived on YouTube, Power Voices, and Facebook. And we had a great week this week. Thanks a lot to everybody, Dan the Man, Lee Baby Michaels, the Shark, the Man with the Magic Tan, Michelangelo, and all our special friends that are watching us every day and listening to us on the Jesse T Show. The world according to Torrero. Now you're straight on the point, baby. That's right. The Brown Beauty is off duty. Have a good one, huh? Woo! Thanks. I need quarters thrown at me, not pink stuff. Heck, I dance.